Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Hearthstone. I'm just gonna say Hearthstone, not recording session, but there very well may be a recording session. So we need to do Warlock and Shaman games here, and that's really all I have to do as far as the quests. Let's see. Is the patch ready? I'm holding back on doing another video for the One Night in Karzhan until the cards are patched in so we can see them. I want to do a video in which we look at all those cards, but it feels like maybe I'll have less than like 12 hours to do that. You can even see here, there's like no pre-purchase even, so even though I will get into a story saying Blizzard, Activision, is trying to get as much money out of you as possible, here is a great example of them not really. Let's play some Shaman. I should also probably just play Wild. Let's do a little Wild Shaman. There we go. So we've got a lot to talk about here. My board is full. I'm trying a different orientation of it because actually now that I've got it so it hangs on my mic stand, it actually isn't at a good angle that you could actually read it because it's about 45 degrees away. Like, I'm looking down towards it at 45-degree angles, so I can't really read what it is. So I've now have it hanging on the mic stand with the bottom of it tilted at an angle using the pop filter, which is probably a hugely stupid idea because then the weight could slowly push the pop filter down and down and down. I've already done a couple of recordings where it felt like the pop filter was a little bit down. Honestly, I'm so far away from the pop filter anyways, though, I would be very surprised if it's not doing much of anything. I saw somebody on YouTube with my same microphone, the Yeti,
job's done,
with a just full-on pop filter cover on the top of it, and I was thinking to myself, yeah, I guess, but that when you do that, that's not the right way to do a pop filter. You want it to actually physically be further away from the microphone, because if you get enough of an airburst to vibrate the microphone, and you're probably also going to vibrate the entire microphone. Let's see. So, yeah, I don't think I'd ever use that. There's already a metal screen on the microphone to stop you from actually hitting it. Those metal screens have a great tendency to get dented if you drop your microphone, which eventually always happens, depending on who you let touch it. I bet I don't ever drop mine because I won't let anybody else touch it, but that's about it. So I just want to reiterate, I think I already talked about it, but I've finally gotten that $100 from ad revenue on this channel. I actually haven't received the money, and it may be forever until that really happens, but my point there is it's finally happened. The potential we'll kill this guy.
Whoops.
YouTube is supposed to now send me a check. So I just want to reiterate that I've got about 135,000 views, which is good. About 354,000 minutes watched, which is a huge number. I mean, imagine doing that. There's a lot to think there. It's like, if you imagine every time you've talked to anybody in your entire life, have you potentially kept somebody's attention for that long? Maybe not. It would be kind of a difficult thing to test, but
Get him! Get him!
so it's something to be proud of. It's something I did in I say we, and I guess it is we. I mean, people had to watch too. It takes two to tango. But I did it in, I would say, less than 2 years. Maybe close. There we go. I'm trying to see if this guy will get magically summoned at the start of my next turn. It's gonna be a 1/3 chance. But yeah, that's something to be proud of, and I'm happy about that. Still, we have a lot of problems. That's not putting us really on the path of buying all the new games. I would need to make at least $70 or $80 a month, not in 2 years, to consider a viable thing to be able to afford. So let's do this, and do I want to do this one, or do I want to do this one?
Whoops.
So, yeah, let's move on to stories now. It's like, so there's a Skyrim mod that's coming out next week from me called Indriel, and it's like its own land, its own RPG thing, based on Skyrim's engine, but not in Skyrim per se. Actually, that was a horrible turn of events. Let's see. This. Let's see.
Feast of souls begins now.
Oh wow. That is a ton of events. So, Indriel is an interesting thought, and I know people loved Skyrim when it first came out, and people have managed to take that love and just continue down that path and continue to play the game, even though Fallout 4 came, and since those are so separate things, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a whole Fallout community and a whole Skyrim community. Honestly, I'm kind of in the middle of both. I would like to play like the next Fallout New Vegas that's not actually made by Bethesda, because sadly the truth is Bethesda's just not as good of a video game creator as they should be. Yeah, this is not gonna work. So it's the problem with Indriel. First of all, I can't really cover mods, even if I wanted to, which I mean, that's something I would consider. It's just free mods, or mods that are free because you own some other game, don't really need to be reviewed as much. Well, they do need reviews to help the community determine whether it's worth their time, but I can't say whether it's worth their money or not because it's free. And the Skyrim remaster is right around the corner, and I need to play that, and I don't have time for that. So, I mean, how in the world could I justify playing a mod to Skyrim when I haven't even, for my channel, played the original Skyrim? Let's see, I've lost.
Explosions! More explosions!
Interesting. So the fire effigy doesn't kill everybody. Something else must have caused everybody to die. He's toying with me. So, like, I will get to Skyrim at some point. I probably won't get into any of the other things. Let's move on to my next story, though. So, as I'm losing here, Prey and other games like No Man's Sky and Resident Evil 7 have got a lot of hype going for them. And we've just been through yet another cycle, and it's almost a non-stop cycle here of games when they're coming up and getting hyped, and when they come out them being slightly disappointed. So No Man's Sky really didn't let any of the reviewers have any review copies, so I noticed a lot of people doing like first impression videos right as the game was available, just doing some of the things that I have forced myself to do, doing that midnight release, or the China release was awful, wait until 3 in the morning before you even start recording, and that video didn't get very many views anyways. No Man's Sky is just kind of a futuristic, simplistic, it's kind of like Spore Galaxies in its creature development. It's like Lego Animals, where you might be able to take legs from one creature and arms from another creature, and you can't do it in the game, but the engine in the game is doing things like that. So you had like a rat with wings, or of a bat, and type things, and they mostly smoothly connect together, and that's the creatures that want minerals, but the most of the game is just this mineral. So you land on a planet, you can walk around the planet, but it would take forever. You look around identifying things for this intergalactic database to get money, and so you're filling in like a Wikipedia of the universe, and you have this gun that shoots things and gets minerals and materials from it, and you have a life support system that you constantly have to give like carbon to, and you had a radiation shield system you had to constantly give other materials to, and it's just materials on top of materials. You get enough materials, you upgrade something, then that upgrade thing you have needs more materials. You start off with a really bad ship. I've seen several reviews say that, and you want to immediately, as soon as you can, get rid of that ship and try to get a better one. Let's see, can I do this? Was that really worth it, playing that card? Probably not. The only element in No Man's Sky that really even interests me is you run into some intelligent life creatures that will talk to you, and you don't understand them originally. So you have to go to these, like, each planet is going to have like maybe a few stones that when you find these stones, they will teach you one word of the conversation, and slowly the game is going to replace the gibberish you see when you talk through basically just a conversation screen of the walls of text. They're going to slowly explain what those things are and what they're saying. And that's kind of an interesting concept. If you put a story around that and you've really regulated that down to there's like 100 words you need to learn, and once you fully understand them, you can maybe solve this riddle or quiz or whatever, and that's it in the game. I could see a concept there, and that doesn't really even have to be a sci-fi space thing, but it would be kind of hard to pull that same trick off doing some other style of game. But yeah, I kind of like that. And then for some reason, your first thing in your goal in No Man's Sky is to get to the center of the universe. And no, I think it's the center of the galaxy. I don't even think you have a full universe to you. Which, if it for scale reasons, that makes more sense. But in general, it was way overhyped game. That's the real problem. Is the game was just hyped. It was like you can go anywhere, you can do anything. No two planets will be the same. And while that's true, a lot of what I've seen on the planets aren't varied. You never find civilizations, you never find cities. You'll sometimes find what is basically a base camp, like one pod where some alien may have camped out there for one night. And most of your interactions with intelligent life aliens are done through the space stations. Man, if I could play that.
Overtime.
But it's actually a really small game. So the next game that's getting too much hype is Prey. Apparently JFK survived in this Prey reboot, and because of that, you're fighting aliens. I didn't even read the article on this one. I think the point here is there's a lot of articles going about Prey. The game isn't out. We don't know anything about it now, except for we know JFK survived and you'll be fighting aliens. Whatever. I mean, it feels a lot of ways like this might just be competing against some other, I don't know, like another space alien shooting game that might be coming out around that time. Is it System Shock that they're trying to compete with? Is it the Darkness? It kind of looks like the Darkness. Let's see. I need these guys to all survive so I can play this guy. So yeah, we don't know anything about it. We haven't seen any real gameplay. Speaking of another thing that's getting too much hype, Resident Evil 7 has teased it may have merchants again by showing their herbs and coins. And I'm like, really? Come on. Resident Evil 5 was noticeably not as good as 4. Resident Evil 6 was awful, and all they're trying to do here is sell out the remaster of Resident Evil 4 again, which is coming out, and then also sell 7 on the good parts of 4, because they can't really reference 5. They certainly don't want to reference at the end of your turn, restore 8 health to your friends. Let's see. In that turn, actually I could have attacked. Actually, shouldn't have attacked though, because that keeps this board more full. So maybe Resident Evil 7 will be great, but I mean, you could have easily have said that about 6. Again, it's just hype. Speaking of hype, I'm playing Assassin's Creed right now, and I'm falling right into the OCD-ness of it, getting all the collectibles. I've probably played about 4 hours getting collectibles, which is probably a true experience of how I played it originally, but even knowing that I'm probably not going to get all the collectibles, even knowing all that stuff, I'm still falling into that trap, and I really don't know how to fix that. So I'm hyping myself about it for some reason. And it doesn't make the most amount of sense. It's stupidity. Is all it is.
Behold the magnificent aerial command unit!
Let's see. And then in the turn. Another games that are kind of getting some hype is Evil Within and Rage, which is a really old game, and they should have made a sequel to it a long time ago, but they didn't. Sold enough, according to one guy in an interview, that they may get sequels, and that's just may. That's like nothing's announced right now or anything like that. It's just, yeah, at some point they may get a sequel. Again, just hype. Hype. That's all it is. I mean, I think Evil Within, if it actually had a story in it, and maybe in the sequel, if they could fix that somehow, there's potentially some kind of improvement you can make there.
Take cover!
But I may eventually play the original Evil Within. It's just not high on my list because it's, I mean, I'd much rather play the remaster of Resident Evil 4 than Evil Within. There was a Metroid 2 remake, I don't remember if I mentioned it, where they used all new assets, made it in color, updated it to make it look great, and Nintendo immediately issued a DMCA against it. Surprising, no one didn't know.
Put your faith in the light.
Honestly, what can you say here? Just don't even try to do remakes of games you don't like. It is the 30th anniversary of Metroid, and Nintendo doesn't want to do anything with it. They obviously don't want anybody else to do with it, but any company is just legally obliged to protect their copyrights. So, well, I think you are, or is that trademarks? Either way, they're going to do it. So there's no remake that's available that you can make unless you get into initial talks with them and you sign an actual contract with them and you go and you have something in writing that you can take them to court and win, which remember, you're talking about a huge company like Nintendo here. So how are you ever going to take Nintendo to court and win? You're not, pretty much. You would have to have full-on legally binding contracts before you should even consider doing any work for a family. Sure, you could do it all in secret and only release it under pseudonyms through like dark web things, but then your art is not going to be seen by very many people and you're wasting your effort too. Sadly, the world is really stacked against creators like that, and that's part of the reason why I'm a critic. Also, the other part is a considerable lack of skill, but like, yeah, I remember they were gonna do another Indiana Jones fan scum game, point-and-click adventure game, and they were working on it and it looked really nice, and then that website just disappeared. There wasn't even a story about it. After Disney bought the LucasArts catalog of Indiana Jones and Star Wars, it just kind of, I went back and checked, and if that site was gone, as if it was never there. I don't even know if it was a case that somebody sent a cease and desist or something, or if it was just the person gave up. But this has never worked. It literally has never worked. Fan projects. Whoa. I bet there is one exception, but I would just say that's the exception that proves the rule, which is a terrible phrase because it wouldn't really be a rule if you can have exceptions. But it's what they should do, and what they have done on a few of them, is if you want to make a Metroid style game, you don't call it Metroid, you don't have anything like Metroid, and you just release it and you call it Axiom Verge or something. I mean, isn't that what Axiom Verge is? It's a Metroidvania style game with none of the references or anything. Even the horrible Mega Man game that they couldn't get the rights, even the creator of Mega Man couldn't get the rights to Mega Man apparently, so Mighty Number 9 gets made.
Move quickly.
That was a bad game, so it didn't even work when the creator of the game tried to do a remake. But particularly Nintendo, don't mess with Nintendo at all. It's never gonna work. Let's see. How long have we been recording? Let's check that out. We'll do one more game. Not making a great bit of progress here. Let's switch over to the Warlock in ranked mode. We've lost a week where I could play my alternate account and get things done, so now I'm gonna end up wasting time. There's an MMO called Tibia that had a door level 99, so it came out like 10 years ago, and just recently one player has ground up to level 99. There was, from what I saw in the article, nothing behind the door until they recently realized that a player was getting close to that time, so it's not like you could have hacked into it and seen what it was. And he got in there and he saw it and he's not telling anybody. Frankly, there's nothing behind there that's going to possibly be worth that 10 years of effort. Nothing. Nothing at all. If it was like perfect armor, ultimate weapon, kills in one hit, at level 999 you probably could do all that anyways. If it was an offer of like a prize bag from the creators, maybe if they gave you like a free computer, but 10 years of work is not like, it would have to be a free computer or something. It would have to be something up there in above at least $1,000 there, or just a cash prize of a couple $1,000 for it to be worth it. And I bet it isn't. I bet it's nothing that interesting at all.
Get it out! Get it out!
Let's see. I'm
I'll
gonna hit
find
this
it.
guy and then do this.
Job's done.
There we go. So, yeah, I don't know why people even put those things in their games. It's ridiculous. It's just a joke. id Software, for the next story, doesn't know if Quake Champions will be free to play, which is a you kind of have to take it in the negative when you get something like that, because that means they are either going to try to do like Overwatch and charge you $60 and then have elements for free to play elements where you have to buy more, or they're going to make it free to play and have it full of elements like that you don't want in your game, that make you buy loot boxes and such. There's no good way you can take it from that. And it's even worse than that, because that means id Software, as they're making their game, has no idea what direction to make their game in. and they are going to compromise at some point, somehow. They're going to have to. They don't even know what they want. If you wanted to make a free-play game, that should be the first decision. Let's make a game. Is it going to be free-to-play? That's the first decision you have to make. So, if they haven't even thought that far ahead, the game is not looking good. But I mean, it's really new. I guess I'm here throwing some anti-hype into Quake Champions, which is probably just going to be like Overwatch. And in fact, their right response is to say, we're not going to release this until Quake loses all favor. Which might not be, I mean, until Overwatch loses all its interest. Which may not be that far away because, let's face it, Overwatch is irritating people also with these new Rio Olympics loot boxes where if you were saving up loot boxes, you can't get the Rio Olympic skins. They're only for a limited time, and they give you extra stuff, I believe, that they said they weren't going to give you before. And it's not just this, it's ridiculous stuff. It's like they're just trying to squeeze the player for more and more money in a game where you did have to pay $60 to own it in the first place. It's like just ridiculousness. I don't see how people aren't going to like eventually just move back to Team Fortress from there. I think Team Fortress is what's going to happen there. So, at the end of the day, Battleborn may have failed, but I think Overwatch is going to fail too. I can't see, with the way it's going and people being mad at them, that they're going to stick with it. But it'll have its community, but I don't think it's going to become like StarCraft or Hearthstone. And Hearthstone isn't as big as StarCraft, which, by the way, StarCraft HD may be in the works, which is an interesting thought. StarCraft 1 in high definition might be a game I play. I mean, it might take a little too much time. I'm having this issue of being short on time a lot, and I'm playing Assassin's Creed 2 now, wasting even more time right now playing collectibles, finding feathers and glyphs and treasure chests all over the place. Deus Ex had this somewhat controversial ad picture where people were holding up a sign saying "All lives matter," and I really don't even want to talk about it, but it's just more along the level of what is Deus Ex Mankind Divided really. Their advertising has been consistently awful. They've gotten pushed back quite a long time, it seems. It just doesn't make sense, and we're very close to it coming out. But I can't imagine that that game is going to be anything more than an at best. It's just going to be neutral. As far as I can figure. I guess I can hit somebody. Not that that matters. It is a real weird case of them just not doing a good job of advertising this game, and they're doing the anti-hype in the most extreme ways. They're making me very not interested in playing the game, which is probably going to be a fine game. I mean, when all's said and done, that's going to be the surprise of Deus Ex Mankind Divided, is it's just probably going to be an average to slightly better than average game. I doubt it's going to be this huge failure. So I'm in a weird position now. I'm probably going to play off screen. We have only... No, I have nothing left to talk about. I've gone through everything, which is surprising because I really did fill up my whole list with stuff to talk about, but each of the things to talk about aren't actual meaty topics. So I'm going to play off screen, try to get Shaman or Warlock on something, probably play casual. Very possibly I'm going to get these both finished, and I guess I'll come back for a second recording, maybe. I can't even really promise one, can I? Because I may just decide to play off screen. So maybe I'll come back, maybe I won't. I can't even promise. I can't even make the promise. I will, of course. I'm like 1 or 2 days away from the new expansion anyway, so where that solo adventure is on its way. So when that comes, I'm gonna make a lot of extra videos there anyways. Anywho, that's gonna be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All of that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.